Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we're on episode 52 of The Last of Us Part 2. Last time we were going up the street with Lev and Abby and trying to get to this house, 2425 Constance, and we got in and found a radio and was able to contact fellow Fireflies from the past, or that supposedly has a compound of like about 200 people strong. And we've been invited in, and now we're gonna get going. Let's move on. Yeah, Pelpa Pig, how's it going? How are you? I wanted to stream yesterday, but my internet was like, the connection speed was like really bad for some reason. And then I was like trying to work with the router to make it work, and I guess I fixed it because now it's great. But weather was also a factor outside, so maybe that had something to do with it. And I wanted to stream earlier. Obviously, before we get into like some news, which I'm sure you are aware of, we should talk about like the state of play. My plan was to like pick up an episode right after the state of play to talk about it, but yeah, there really wasn't nothing that was too big. I mean, I watched the whole thing. I thought it was a fine state of play. I just didn't like, I just was expecting, you know, you said I just plugged my internet out and plug it back in. That's basically what I did, but it still wasn't working for some reason. So I was like, you know what? Let's wait a day before I contact anybody. And I did, and because apparently like there was some wire down in the neighborhood or some blocks over. So I was like, okay, maybe they'll repair it, and it seems like they did. So, but yeah, what was that state of play, man? That state of play, like, let's be like just to be real, it wasn't bad. I think Sony's problem is that they're not that good at managing expectations with these state of plays now, because the state of plays were originally just supposed to be a little thing that they would put out just to show a couple of games or whatever's going on in the Sony ecosystem, like with third party and indies, maybe a Sony game or whatever. Nothing crazy, but because they haven't done a showcase in forever, and I think they did do a showcase a while back, but it wasn't really that special. Um, Sony's just they're not good at they're just not good at like, unless they're saving, because I did hear a rumor that they're saving up for the summer for more bigger splash. But it's like, how many times do we have to go through this whole conversation where it's just like, oh yeah, there's the rumor that they're really holding on for more stuff later. It's like we keep getting what's the word, uh blanking on what I'm trying to say, but they keep stringing us along a bit. And that's not to say that we're not getting announcements, though. I mean, a new game from Housemark, the guys that did, or the developer that did Returnal, uh, putting out kind of what looks like a new roguelike, with that game, Saros. That's something. Like, at least we're learning about Sony's first party, what they're doing. I mean, we just back at the Game Awards, we learned about Intergalactic, at least. At least we're getting to know some. They're doling it out. They're spoon feeding it. But Days Gone remastered. Honestly, Days Gone came out 2019. Well, before, yeah, you said, "Good Lord, that state of play." It was so yeah, it's just the same old stuff. Like, I'm sure there was some little things that people might have liked. Like, I have my friend is a big Sonic guy, and he liked the whole like Sonic Heroes racing, or that racing game or whatever that came out, which looks kind of cool because it has like the solid state drive. It seems to take advantage of the solid state drive, where you can like warp to different parts of the level, similar to what CTR did with with Nitro Fuel before the solid state drive was a thing for the PS5. But that looked cool, having being able to like change your vehicles, like like uh, aerial to more vehicular and stuff like that. Yeah, the but like I, I think for Sonic fans, it's great. I'm not really a Sonic guy personally, so it just wasn't something for me. But I think that's a game that for people, I could see them being going gaga over that. Some people are playing a closed beta. Okay, yeah. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Days Gone remaster. It coming out. The thing is with Days Gone is it got a bad. I feel like it didn't get a fair shake when it was like originally presented to media outlets because they didn't get a version that was optimized properly, and because of that, it hurt the game's reviews. I don't think the game is as great as all of other of Sony's first party really, but it's a good game. I did play it to completion. I platinumed it. Um, it was a little buggy at points, but no more buggy than I've experienced with Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon Zero Dawn when those were first released. Um, a remaster mode that gives you a $10 upgrade path if you already own the game on PS4, digitally or whether it's digitally or physically. That's good. It seems to be that's the same trend that they did with the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster and The Last of Us Part Two and Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. Uh, do these games need remasters? No, but after Ben Studios' um, live service game getting canceled, along with all Sony first parties games getting canceled, and with the whole Jim Ryan's live service push, I think this is good for Ben Studio for them to release a remaster, a proper remaster, regardless if it's necessary or not, just so that they can make some money back because it's going to be a while before they put out a new game ever again. At this point, it's going to be a long while. I feel sorry for that studio because they 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 released like Resistance Retribution on the was it the PSP and Uncharted Golden Abyss on Vita. They were known for the Siphon Filter series back in like the PS1 days. Um, and what else have they done? They really haven't done anything other than Days Gone, and then Days Gone didn't get the green light for a sequel. I just feel a little bad for the studio, so I feel bad kicking the game while the kicking them while they're down, I guess, because at least a remaster is something for them to just bridge the gap and for them to just like rebuild and regather uh, their resources and talent and everything and finally come out with some new game because we're not going to see a Ben Studio game, I think, at all during the PS5 generation. It's probably going to be a PS6 thing now. It's sad. I mean, the only good thing I can see from this is that maybe we can get a Days Gone 2. That's that too. I think it could. I think a Days Gone remaster can kind of recapture some interest in the game. Maybe people can go back to it and kind of give it a second chance, maybe, or even bringing a new audience to it, and people can and playing like a more properly optimized version plus you know a version that would like be great on like PS5 Pro or uh or even a base PS5 really like and at least you're getting features too like the horde mode thing and um there were two other modes that were added that are new which is cool so maybe you can recapture interest and then if people I mean the first game sold 10 million plus copies which for Sony is in like that should be considered a success. So, um, but that's good. The Saros game, the game by the Returnal guys, I still have to play Returnal. I feel like Returnal is a game I need to get back to at some point just to give it a second chance because I became more accustomed to roguelike games after playing games like the God of War DLC, free DLC, Valhalla, and South Park Snow Day and all that. Like I get the whole concept now better, and I'm kind of down with it. Whereas with Returnal, and Returnal is a little bit more difficult, so maybe I have to get used to controls more. But in the meantime, though, Saros isn't really a game that I'm like going crazy about. But I'm just glad that Housemarque is, out of all the live service games that were canceled from all these studios, at least any of these first party studios that can put a game like a legit game out, I think that's good. And I hope it finds an audience, and maybe I will be part of that audience. Who knows? But for me, as of right now, I'm not really excited about it. They didn't even show you gameplay or anything, but it was just like, and then it's just like I'm not really attached to the developer as much as say like a Santa Monica studio or Sucker Punch or Naughty Dog or so. But but yeah, that was that really. But the next day, then Team Asobi announces that they're going to be bringing more Astrobot levels. So it's like, why wasn't that included in the state of play? Because that would have been a cool thing to see. And I think one of the levels was released today or yesterday. I didn't get a chance to play it yet. I think it's another time trial level. But I believe that when they announce that there's going to be more levels, it's not just going to be time trial levels. I think there's going to be other, like, just normal levels too. So that's cool. That's why I don't really take state of play too seriously, because there's games that get announced around these these quote unquote showcases or mini showcases or whatever that can capture your interest. Like for instance, the big game that has been basically confirmed at this point, uh, and I think like for me this is like if it's releasing this year, this is going to be the dream year for me. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, I think, is what they're hinting at. Originally, one of the new roster pros was on a podcast, Tyshawn Jones, and he let slip that he's in a new Tony Hawk remaster that's supposed to be coming out. Um, that's supposed to be coming out soon, he says. Uh, that's big. And then what happened after that was uh, people or Activision. I don't know whether Activision just wanted to get ahead of this or not, uh, with whatever marketing they had planned. But they took Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, the level grind, which has been in past Call of Duties. I think it's in Black Ops 4, and which is like a skate park map or whatever, and they have the date 3/4/25 with the kind of like the classic Tony Hawk silhouette logo. Uh, to me, that's a big hint. And when that was tweeted, when people started to realize, or they screenshotted it and put it on Twitter, Tony Hawk himself on Twitter, he tweeted the little like suspicious eyeballs emoji, which to me is just like now it's definitely like there's no, and we already know from an interview in the past that Tony Hawk said that he had a meeting with Activision and that he thinks Tony Hawk fans are going to be very happy with what is in store. Uh, Basically saying what we're all thinking without having to say it. And I think it has to be a 3+4 remake, which honestly is so like to me it's like I feel like I'm back in 2017 when the Crash Insane trilogy was announced, or when the Spyro Reignited trilogy was announced. This is like I feel like overjoyed right now. Yes, Tony Hawk. I definitely heard about the Tony Hawk, and it's very like how convenient is it that they chose the date 3/4/25, like 3+4, for 2025. Uh, I think that's very like we know how Activision is very cute with their marketing when it comes to these remakes. Whether now they haven't sent anything out yet, to like any like media outlets or whatever, like how there was like the furry dice for Crash Team Racing or the Spyro egg, but there was something kind of interesting. Apparently, there's a skateboard that's coming out with that has a Spyro on it. It's like a Spyro Year of the Dragon skateboard. Uh, I don't know what that's about, but like maybe that's Activision's way of like similar to how Call of Duty is used in the marketing for Tony Hawk is using the different IP, even though they don't own Toys for Bob anymore. But still, and that's another question though, which is what you just asked: is who is the developer? Um, my and I mentioned this on Canadian Guy A's Twitter post. I said like because Vicarious Visions was absorbed into Blizzard and pretty much I think they were basically renamed like Blizzard Albany, and their sole purpose is just to be in like the Blizzard mines and work on like World of Warcraft and Diablo and stuff, and that's it. Like they're pretty much done. Even the creatives like Jen O'Neill, who was the creative director um for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, she left the company, and which seemed like it was not amicable either. Like she didn't seem to like what was happening for her team and the talent that Vicarious Visions was, what they brought to the table and stuff. A lot of those lead people seem to have scattered, and are not with Blizzard anymore. But yeah, I'm here because I was thinking, I was like, okay, Toys for Bob went into independent. They're likely working on like a Crash Bandicoot, a Spyro, or a new IP, or either or. And so and they have never worked on any of the Tony Hawk games. So, or at least nothing with the Tony Hawk 1+2. But Beanox did help with did help Vicarious Visions with 1+2. So that was my first thought, is even though Beanox is in the Call of Duty support mines, I was wondering like maybe they, after Microsoft acquired Activision, maybe they allowed Beanox uh to pull the resources and put them back on Tony Hawk. But then yeah, I'm hearing rumblings of this other studio, Iron Galaxy, which I've never heard of. I don't know, like I'm guessing they're owned by Activision. They would have to be, right? Um, as the many developers that are under them. And I always thought like, what if there was like another like developer that I was never even thinking of, like a completely new developer that could be put on um in the role of developing a game like this. So I don't know, but I'm hoping that the assets and everything they built and the physics engine and everything that they built for the first two games, that 1+2 remake, I, all they really need to do is have that as like a template, and they can easily, I feel, make 3+4. Uh, yeah, you're saying it's not an Activision studio, so maybe it's a because it would have to be an Activision published game. That's why Activision is even involved in the marketing to begin with. We already know too that the Tony Hawk game website now has a countdown meter to 3/4/25. So and we are the fact that Activision was already promoting this on Call of Duty, like it's already like implied that they still own the IP and everything, obviously. So maybe they can outsource the IP to another company to work on for them, even if they don't outright own a company like Iron Galaxy. I don't know. I don't know the logistics, but it's interesting. Uh, Going forward though, like I have questions. I have so many questions like I used to back when like the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy was first announced. Like, how are they going to do it? Like, like I want to know is Bam Margera going to be on the roster? Because in Tony Hawk 3, Bam Margera was introduced, and he was in the fourth game and then the Underground games. Uh, I know like Bam Margera was like whitewashed from all the posters in the in the level the hangar in Tony Hawk 1 Plus 2 remake because of his problems with drug addiction and uh, domestic issues that he was having. I feel like he's been on a like from what like I've seen in like Instagram reels and YouTube, he seems to be cleaner. Like he went to rehab, and he's been posting videos of him skating more. So maybe he will be included. I'm not sure, but you know, we know that every like remake that we've experienced right now, like the Crash Bandicoot Insane, Spyro, Crash Team Racing, there's little tweaks that they make differences depending on what's going on in the modern world. You know, like um, or what they deem as you know that they feel they need a censor or whatever. You know, like Bombo being renamed to Bob in Spyro, or Crash Team Racing. What's it called? Nitrous Oxide not using the word slaves, but he uses like minions or something. Um, so I wonder what little differences are going to come out. See, I feel like I'm so ahead of myself. I'm talking about 3+4 like it's happening, but I think it is. To me, it's the thing that makes sense. And they know that fans have been clamoring for this, but but 3+4, there's things too that what I'm really excited for with 3+4 is those games or those games, the original PS2 games, they were like the first games that added like pedestrians to the levels. So now the levels are going to be more full of life. You're going to be able to talk to the pedestrians, similar to like in Spyro, how Spyro 2 you can talk to the different characters in the world or whatever, and like have like the text dialogue that's acted at the same time. Um, there's a lot that's gonna there's a lot that's gonna be new to the games. And plus three, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 are two different types of games too, because the third game is similar to the first two games, where it's more of like a arcade, like try to collect all this stuff within the time limit, or try to do all these tasks within the 2 minute time limit, and then if you can't do it, you restart. Um, whereas Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is more no time limit. It's open world, and you get to go to different pedestrians, and do their missions. Similar to like Spyro 2, like if there was an orb challenge or an egg challenge to do. Um, that's what I'm excited for. Uh, but yeah, this is going to be huge. Uh, I feel like every episode there's just something big to talk about. Now it's get like the more we do, I feel like there's just more to get into, which I'm excited about. Ooh.
Stop! Don't kill her now. Tyra. Come here, let me see you. You ready?
Wait, what are you doing? Wait. Fuck, man!
You're fine. Get that little one.
Don't you fucking touch him!
Shit. One hell of a catch, huh?
did you go from here? Two, 4, 2, 5, Constance. Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Whew. Now, are these the people that we were talking to on the radio, um, or this the new faction? The well, it sounded like the what I think that spray painted logo that there was like a like a skull or whatever on the garage door from last episode. But yeah, that Abby and Lev are not in a good place right now, regardless. But that's the question I'd be asking right now. But yeah, now Ellie's here to add even more pain to the situation. Yeah, well, indeed. Let's just read this real quick. So the good info, I traded good info in quotes. I traded those fish for turn. So the good info I traded those fish for turned out to be bogus. Despite our repeated dead ends, my gut tells me the Fireflies are in Santa Barbara somewhere. I'm picturing the snark I'll be getting if you heard me say that. Shut up. Gonna check out another tip back in the suburbs. Wish us luck. I was sitting by the fire at night with Lev. Oh, so this is Abby writing. Looking at the waves, thinking about you. I told him your stupid joke about the skateboarding grandma. Speaking of skateboarding. He laughed so hard he spit out his food. It's the happiest I've ever seen him yet. Or I've seen him yet. I miss you. You'd have liked it here. There are no towns, just small caravans that move up and down the coast. Everyone says Santa Barbara is haunted, like some Bermuda Triangle. I think it's beautiful. I saw a seal the other day. It had spots. Is this some karmic way of you mocking me? So she's talking to Owen in this, who's since dead. I guess Abby has no reason to think that anyone would be coming after her still. Similar to what Joel probably thought. Him getting comfortable in, back in, Tommy's compound or area.
How would she get up to the street from here?
Getting a lot of Uncharted 4 vibes from this. But yes, Tony Hawk, I can't wait. I'm counting down the days for 3/4/25. It seems a little too good to be true. It's like I've been waiting like 5 years. But if it does get announced, which I think it's going to be an announcement. I did hear rumblings that they wanted to try to shadow drop it. Maybe maybe they were trying to aim for like around the summer. But it feels like it's right around the corner. And the last time Tony Hawk 1+2 was announced, it was released in that same year. It was like announced in like around the Summer Game Fest time, and then it was released like in September, or no, I think it was released a little earlier announced a little earlier than Summer Game Fest, and then Summer Game Fest I think was just an opportunity for them to show more of the level or of more of the game. From what I remember. But yeah, that came out in the same year, and then Crash 4 came out a month later, after Tony Hawk. So you never know, like halfway through the year, what the year has in store for you. Even if you don't know, there's a lot of games that don't get announced super early. They get announced properly, where it gets announced, and then like maybe a few months to 6 months later, you'll see that game. Guess I gotta go back this way just to be thorough. Ellie collects superhero cards, which we haven't done in a while. But I doubt there'll be a superhero card all the way out here. But anyway, but yeah, other than that, like, yeah, let's get into our. Let's continue what we have been doing, our top 10 2000s Desert Island games. Just to rattle off, we're halfway through so far. Our list. Mine is number 10 is SOCOM 2, U.S. Navy SEALs. Number 9, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Number 8, God of War 2. Number 7, Pokemon Silver, and number 6, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. And your list is number 10, Mario Kart DS. Number 9, Soul Calibur 2. Number 8, Def Jam Fight for New York. Number 7, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And number 6, Kingdom Hearts 2. If I'm not here to watch your stream, would you do the list without you? If you were not here throughout the whole stream, I would wait for the next episode, I think. But are you going to be here for the rest of this stream? For us to do some more? Because, yeah, if there were, like, future episodes or, you know, if you couldn't do it today, then I could always wait. Okay, so you're going to be here for now. But, yeah, if there was ever an episode that you're not here for, don't feel pressured. I'm not gonna go ahead without you, because, you know, we have all the time in the world, so long as we you know, stay safe and healthy and keep a clear head, as I always say. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so I guess I'll go into my number 5. It is. Okay, so my number 5 is a game that I remember going on the computer back in the day, trying to find a game that could kind of be a game I could play that would fill the void of me not being able to play Halo on PS2.
This looks promising.
And I know that people always think of, like, Killzone as the Halo killer, or the game that's supposed to really be the game to compete with Halo. But for me, the game I found on the internet after doing a lot of research, because it needed to check off similar boxes for me. I wanted to play a game where I'm fighting against aliens. I wanted to play a game or aliens or mutants or whatever, you know, similar to, like, the Flood versus the aliens or whatever. I wanted to play a game where you have teammates on your side that are fighting alongside you in the campaign. I wanted a game that had floaty physics similar to Halo, that kind of had a bit of a sci-fi-ness to it, where it was a mix of, like, human guns with alien guns. And I wanted a fun multiplayer experience too, along with the single player experience, and one that would be, like, thriving for years. And the game I chose ended up being just that, and that's Area 51 for PS2. Came out in 2005. This is a game that I played ad nauseum. As much as I played the first Killzone, this game was, like, the game for me. It really scratched, like, every itch for me. The single player was amazing. You know, you're playing as a hazmat soldier that is tasked with investigating some weirdness that's happening on the Area 51 base, and then you go deep underground as you go throughout the game. The protagonist is voiced by David Duchovny from the X-Files. One of the people who are in your squad is voiced by Nolan North before he made his stint on Uncharted. Then you have Marilyn Manson playing as one of the alien voice characters. You have Who was the guy who played Mr. Pitt on Seinfeld? Plays like the scientist, the scientist in a wheelchair who's like trying to save you throughout the game. Um, and then there was also Powers Booth, from best known for his work on Deadwood, playing kind of like a really despicable human being on Deadwood. A great HBO show, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Great, one of those like shows that I wish went more seasons. It only went 3 seasons, but it ended perfectly. But Powers Booth voices your commander that you hear over the intercom throughout the whole game, pretty much. It's one of the only PS2 games with online. It really was. I mean, Killzone had online, so I had fun with that. I had my like the first Killzone. SOCOM obviously was a big game or series to play multiplayer and single player with. But Area 51 was great. Like you're playing 8 versus 8 matches. There's lobbies, different game modes like team deathmatch, capture the flag. Infection was one of my favorite game types, where basically like you're patient zero, and whoever you kill becomes infected and becomes a mutant. And the objective of the game is you want to be the last man standing, the last human player standing. I loved that game. I love that. There's actually videos of me on YouTube playing that mode and beating people, because back then there were some people who were able to record on PS2 the gameplay. And if you were in that community, you knew those people. I actually even helped direct the YouTube video, or what you can find on YouTube. It's the Area 51 movie. That's only 10 minutes long. It's like a short film. It's basically like a zombie outbreak movie that I basically I directed all the people in it. I allowed them to use whatever dialogue they wanted, but basically I wrote it too. I wrote the beats of the story, of at least what I wanted to happen in the plot part of it. They used their own liberties of using their own dialogue or whatever, but they basically improvised it in the way that that at least pushes the story along in the way I wanted it. Like, I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, like the Halo series, like Red versus Blue. It was like a comedy series that was made within Halo's multiplayer by these guys. It's like a very shabby version of that in a way. And to this day, like people still comment on that video from within the community. I'm actually friends with a lot of the Area 51 players I used to play with on Discord, because there's a community Discord of the people who played the PS2 version back in the day, and like we all remember each other's like gamer tags and stuff. That game was just such a joy. It's one of the games too that held me over after not being able to purchase a PS3, because I feel like if I was able to purchase a PS3 right away, I probably would have got more into Resistance, that being another first person shooter multiplayer single player experience. But I never really I played through the Resistance series, but I never really got a chance to get attached to it in the same way I did with Area 51. Area 51 was just like a game that was just so dear to my heart. It scratched the itch of not being able to play Halo on PlayStation. Physics were awesome. It's one of those games that I like mastered too. If they ever made a remaster, and that's the thing, Midway Austin doesn't even exist anymore as a developer. Midway got shut down, and actually there was a sequel, kind of a spiritual successor sequel to Area 51 on PS3 called Area 51 Black Site, which I've mentioned I've played before. Recently, not too recently, but like it was like I played it like maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's not good. The PS5, the PS2 version, the first game is the better game by far. I heard there was just a lot of things with the developing timeline that wasn't good for the sequel, but which wasn't even really a sequel. It was kind of like just a spiritual sequel. It had nothing to do with the story of the first game. But yeah, that's my first game, Area 51, or my fifth game on the list is Area 51. Uh, that's called Machinima. What is? What's called Machinima? I forgot what I was like. I was talking about like so much in that short span of time there. I like that we had to do a little platforming just now to get a little Uncharted platforming going on here. But yeah, that's my number 5. A lot of memories, really great story. A lot of cool set pieces to the game too. Uh, Definitely a feeling of like a loneliness and isolation in that game, but you're still surrounded by a squad of people. You fight against aliens, the Illuminati, different mutants, and little like flood-like creatures and stuff like that. So it's cool. But where you can make a cutscene using in-game footage. Oh yeah, okay, I gotcha. Basically, that's what we did. If you ever see it, it's called. If you ever want to check it out, it's called Lab Experiment Failure. Uh, if you type in Lab Experiment Failure and just scroll down a little bit, you'll see like uh, an Area 51 kind of gameplay. It's basically shot with like a person using a pistol as a camera, basically, because you weren't able to not use and take away all the guns or whatever to kind of make it like a camera. But it's basically like you have to have like suspension of disbelief that there's a guy with a gun acting as the camera or whatever. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's called Lab Experiment Failure. It gets funny. It gets funny towards the end. And you can actually hear me voice acting in it too. I'm RPG Huts. RPG was like my clan name back then, and you can also see me playing as Huts, just regular Huts or whatever. And then also I had to fill in for somebody. At one point, the person's the gamer tag was called Someone's Dad, and basically they weren't available one day, so I just basically created a new account with him. Because you didn't need to like create like a PlayStation Network account or anything back then. It was just like you can create any in-game account. So basically, I did the voice for him for like one line, which, in retrospect, is actually funnier that like my voice changes from his regular voice for like that one line. Has that like kind of amateur feel to it. But yeah, that's my number 5. How about you? What would you put you as your number 5 for the 2000s? Well, there's a lot of branching paths over here. I don't want to go up too far yet. Let's see. Oh, we got this. Nice. Your number 5 is Crash of the Titans. Okay. This is a game I've never played. I've never played any of like the Mutant. Was it Mind Over Mutant and Crash of the Titans? Right. Which one came first? It was Mind Over Mutant, right? I think Crash of the Titans comes after that, or am I wrong? The Crash games where Crash has the tattoo and he's a little different looking, and like the Tiger doesn't really look how he normally looks, and Aku Aku looks different. I never played these games, but I heard that they're still great games. I don't know if you know this YouTuber, Jeremiah something. He used to be a big Crash YouTuber, but like before the Insane Trilogy came out, when he was like hoping that there'd be a new game, but then he never really made it big as a Crash Bandicoot YouTuber. He people in the Crash community I feel know him, but I remember he was always a big strong advocate for these games. It's basically being like, you don't need to be a Naughty Dog purist to enjoy Crash Bandicoot. Dude, this game freaking rocks. I don't care what any Crash fan thinks. Jerry. Yeah, I remember him being a strong advocate for what's it called, for Crash of the Titans or Mind Over Mutant. But these games are just like, it's like maybe I should just in retrospect just pick them up. The thing is, like, after Wrath of Cortex and Nitro Kart, I was just starting to feel the series waning for me. And then Twinsanity came out, and I was like, okay, that's actually interesting. But I just never got it. At that point, I was just like, playing all these other games that I just never got around to it. And then by then, Crash's design changed so dramatically that I was just like, I don't know if these are for me anymore. But now that I'm kind of like over it, over the whole like you know, looking back at it in a retrospective, I feel like those are games that, especially now that I know that Crash Bandicoot games are not few and far between. Like it's rare for a Crash game to come out. You know, we got Crash 4 after like that was like the first like original Crash game since the PS3 era. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check out these games. Taking control of large monsters and beating the crap out of other monsters. It's so much fun. I know like one of the criticisms too is that like it's not like, you know, like the gameplay has changed. It's not like your traditional Crash Bandicoot game. Now you're playing with a different mechanic where you're controlling these monsters. And I know that people kind of were turned off by that, I think, originally, but I think it's still cool. I think I like the idea of a Crash game, like the IP being used for something that doesn't have to necessarily be rooted in Crash's DNA in terms of like how it should play. As long as it plays fine, as long as the game itself is a solid game, I think it's worth checking out. But I'm glad you enjoy it. One of the things I do know without having ever played the games is that the collecting, I think it's like the Wumpa Fruits. I don't know if you're collecting Wumpa Fruits or coins or something or what. I think it's Wumpa Fruit, right? But and like you said, yeah, there's still platforming. So that's good. That's good that there's kind of like an in-between gameplay where you're still platforming. Because we're used to Crash Bandicoot having vehicle mechanics anyway, so or different mechanics being introduced around the platforming. But yeah, what I was saying is the collecting sound is the same sound that you get in actually I'll use this as my segue for my next game, because the next game I'm about to say for my list after you're done has the same sound effect for collecting the collectible as Crash Mind Over Mutant and Crash of the Titans. It's called Mojo. It's basically XP. Okay, so that's what you're collecting is Mojo? It's not like Wumpa Fruit anymore? Okay, so I think we're at a dead end here. Let me go this way. And how do you think the story, like, are these the games where was Nina introduced in the Mind Over Mutant Crash of the Titans series, or was it in Twinsanity? Because I've never played those. I never played Twinsanity. I've only played Twinsanity in a demo, so. No, you collect Wumpa Fruit to heal you. Okay. I think I gotta go this way. But like, yeah, how would you like the story compared to... And do you? I'm guessing you like it over Mind Over Mutant. Do you feel like the games evolve from Mind Over Mutant to Crash of the Titans? Like, do you feel like a sense of like this is like a true sequel to this game, or does it just feel like kind of a sidestep? Similar to like I think of like Crash Bandicoot 1 to Crash Bandicoot 2. Like it feels like it's more, you know, of a sequel. Nina first appeared in Twinsanity, but she plays a big role in this game. She replaced Cortex as the main villain because he sucks. I like out of all the non-Naughty Dog characters, I think I like Nina. I really admire Nina as a character a lot. I like her conceptually compared to a lot of the newer characters. I like she has a lot of spunk to her that I feel is cool. Where am I supposed to go? I think I went up this way before, but that's not where I'm supposed to be. Okay, I think I'm supposed to go this way. Mind Over Immune takes a step forward, but also a step back because there's a lot of backtracking in that game. Ah, okay. Yeah, backtracking can be kind of a... It can make or break a game for a lot of people. Um, like, for instance, like Spyro 2 has backtracking compared to the first game, but I just enjoy Spyro 2 a lot that I kind of don't care. But, that's just an example of where backtracking doesn't really bother me in a sequel. But I can see how backtracking in some other types of games or, you know, certain games can be a little vexing. Okay, let's try going this way. I feel like I'm so confused. I went up here before. The music in Titans is really good and cool. I do like Mind Over Immune music better, but this music is still good. The music seems different because I know Twinsanity was more like a cappella was introduced into the music. Is that similar with Mind Over Immune and Crash of the Titans, or like how would you explain the sound of it? Because it's definitely different from like the Naughty Dog's soundtracks, I feel. Or is it similar? Or is it even closer to that? I don't even know. Where the hell am I supposed to go? There's no acapella in this. Okay, so Twinsanity had the acapella though, right? Okay, where the heck am I supposed to go? I went up that way before, did I not? And I'm down that way. It's like tribal mixed with electric guitar. Don't know how to explain it. Okay. Sounds interesting. Anything that pops is always good. Even if it's not, even if it just, if it gets more experimental, I'm always kind of okay with it. As long as there's some, as long as it gets me, you know, excited to keep playing. But the tribal music seems to at least bring it home to what the game's always kind of offered. Also, the environment's beautiful and large. It's very atmospheric. I like the idea of how more open it is. I like that, and I feel like Twinsanity kind of introduced that. But yeah. Oh, I'm so like confused where I'm supposed to be. I went up this way. It's probably frustrating for people who are just trying to watch this as a Let's Play stream. But unless you have anything else to add, I can move on. But as long as you're satisfied, I think I'm supposed to go this way. This is where I was going, right? Was I not? Why did I not? Why did I feel like I didn't go? I did go up this way. Okay. I'm supposed to. I don't know what's happening. Oh, the stupid squeezing thing here. Damn it. Alright. The comedy is good. Nolan North as Engine is funny, and that's my number 5. Oh, well, okay. So, 2 of our number 5s has Nolan North in it. Which, you know... And it's funny because isn't that is this pre-Uncharted, Crash of the Titans? I feel like he has a lot of roles. Him and Troy Baker, definitely. Like, there's a lot of roles before they were made famous for, you know, their iconic roles. 2007. Okay, so it came out the same year as the first game. Okay, so yeah, that's your number 5. Great pick. My number 4, and this is a great segue because the sound effect that's used in... I don't know whether it's just in Mind Over Immune or in Crash of the Titans, but the sound effect for collecting things is the same as my number 4, which is the Simpsons Hit and Run.
Okay.
When you're collecting the coins. Simpsons Hit and Run, excellent, excellent. One of my favorite licensed games ever. It's a great game, not just because I love The Simpsons, but it's just a great game. Uh, Story written by the Simpsons writers. Voices are done by the voice actors. This is coming out at a time before the whole controversy with Apu or uh, you know any character of color having to be forced to be voiced by that person of color um, or ethnicity. Um, it's a rare game. If they ever came out with a remaster, I don't even think, we were talking about censorship before. I feel like they would make changes where there's a whole level that's dedicated to Apu, like an entire, not just a mission, but like an entire wave of missions where Apu plays a key role. Which is, it's like it just makes you wonder, like, would they replace the actor? Like, that's what makes me a little wary of a remaster or a remake. But that's why I probably would prefer a sequel, if anything, a spiritual sequel. That way you're not like trampling on anything. If you can like kind of write the story in any way you want. But anyway, all the politics of that aside, we've talked about that in the past. It's old. It's all old hat. It's the game itself is great. It's a collectathon. It's a GTA, a great GTA inspired game, obviously, which the Simpsons always did. They did Simpsons Bowling, Simpsons Skateboarding. They're not that great game. Those games aren't that great. Road Rage takes after Crazy Taxi. That's a good game. But Hit and Run is really where they really peaked, and they found not just a game that was a great Simpsons game, but a great game that even non-Simpsons fans look back on and are like, wow, that really was a great game. You said this is one of the games I got on original Xbox when I got it for my 8th birthday. See, so when this came out, I was in 8th grade, and I was 13 at the time. It was like it was like the first semester of my 8th grade semester or quarter or whatever it was. So I was 13 when this game came out. Uh, this game to me holds up better than Vice City, which came out a year before. In terms of the frame rate and the the actual like physics and the graphics and everything. I think it lends itself better that it's a cartoon world, so the graphics don't have to be like, I think realistic games that were taking place in a realistic setting or trying to be like real art design kind of age more now that we're in modern day compared to where more cartoony games hold up better, I feel. Um, but yeah, The Simpsons, like to this day, when I'm driving to work and someone cuts me off on the highway, I always think this is a Simpsons hit and run NPC. Like, uh, people don't like talk about it enough, but the AI in Simpsons hit and run is really pretty sophisticated and pretty uh relatable because the cars will cut you off in the middle of the road. Like if you're on like a busy road, they'll cut you off. Like on the more like freeway sections. Um, Whenever people cut me off like that without any rhyme or reason, I always think this is a Simpsons hit and run NPC. And also, if you drive head on at somebody, the AI will panic. Like they'll actually panic and try to veer off the road because without you having even touched them. I always liked that being implemented into the AI. It makes for a more funnier circumstances to happen when you're in the heat of the moment trying to complete a mission. Um, and I just like that the, the everything because the levels are not completely open world. They're more like open world chapters, which are more like small and closed off. Uh, the vehicles and the pedestrians are all are in the universe. They're not like disappearing like in Vice City. If they walk, if there's too many people on screen, they'll disappear. Or if you turn around, the car behind you will disappear and a new car will be there. It's not like that. Uh, Simpsons Hit and Run, like everything's in the game. Like every character, every car you come across, it's all driving on its own, and it's in the game. Even when you're on the other side of the map, it's still there. So that's a game I always loved. Great. The comedy was still great in 2003, even though the show itself was past its prime a bit and starting to jump the shark in spots. The humor was always great still. Even in those like early teen years of the Simpsons show, it's still a funny show. It's just the stories aren't written as well as like the say like seasons 1 through 8 or 1 through 9. But the humor works here. The kind of over the topness works. I love the dialogue of going up to any Simpsons character and then you get to interact with them and talk with them, and there's like it's like loaded with jokes, Simpsons jokes like galore. There's so many references to old shows. I love that you're collecting like collectible cards that reference different episodes of the show. And there's like quotes and everything. Like there's and then you can dress up the characters in costumes that are references to events in the show. There's so much love that went into that game. It's a platformer at the same time, but it was such a draw when they first announced this game, and they revealed that you can get in and out of your car at will. That was a big draw for people. Just like Jak 2, or kind of took after Grand Theft Auto. Also, Grand Theft Auto was a big inspiration in terms of like getting in and out of your car in an open world setting. But yeah, I've gone and on about this game, but it's definitely one of those games that I would love. Now that Simpsons Tapped Out is discontinued, or they've stopped supporting it, I would love to see a new Simpsons console game in some form. But even if there's not, the Simpsons Hit and Run is a gem. It's the best thing that ever came out of Simpsons video games. And if anyone ever wants to check out my article that I wrote up about how Hit and Run has never been referenced, the events of Hit and Run, even though it was written by the writers, has never been referenced on the show. Even though the movie has been referenced on the show, I always think like, why haven't they ever, like, they know that the showrunner Matt Selman knows that the game is beloved and iconic for a lot of Simpsons fans. I always wonder why not, throw a little nod to it, or like some reference to it. With all the callbacks they do and all the sight gags that they can do, I feel like I would love to see that sometime. But anyway, I'm just droning on and on. My favorite car is that rocket thing. Oh yeah, the rocket car, which is like a hidden car you can find in the level. It's not a car that you can actually, because every level has a secret car hidden in the level that you can drive. Like there's a monster truck in one of the levels. There's a go-kart in another level. There's a lot of cool cars. The amount of cars that you're driving when you go to the payphone and you get to purchase, and then you can call up and use at any time is also awesome. A lot of those cars are references to different episodes of the show. Like the Globex supervillain car is Hank Scorpio's car, if you know that character. It's amazing. I love that game. It's a game I always mean to play time and time again if time passes. It's one of those dream games that if they ever in some way remade it, even if it's not the same, I will be all over it, because it's just one of my most beloved games of that decade. But yeah, if SpongeBob can reference the games in the show, so can The Simpsons. See, that's cool. I like that that SpongeBob does that. The Simpsons, like the only game they ever referenced in the show was Tapped Out, which is a mobile game, but the mobile game kind of ties into the show, so I feel like that's probably why they did it. But it's like it's very curious. Like The Simpsons has so many video games. They've paid homage to it in the DVD sets. Like there's a special feature that goes over that is basically like a clip show of like all the Simpsons video games from back from like the SNES era to the Game Boy and so on up to present day or whatever. There's cool features like that in like the season 13 DVD set that offers that. But yeah, no other Simpsons video game has ever been referenced on the show. But you know, it's not that like it needs to happen, but it's just something that would be cool to see happen. But yeah. Anyway, I've been rambling on. Simpsons Hit and Run, my number 4, without a doubt. How about you? We're closing in on our number 1, but what would you say is your number 4?
Now what? Mesa Bluff. I'm here, and Santa Barbara proper is that way.
Mesa Bluff, beach access, city of Santa Barbara, California. Okay, so your number 4 is Uncharted 2. That was my number 6. Anything else you want to add that we talked about? I hear clickers. Uncharted is a series that helped through lockdown. Lockdown. Oh, when you replayed the series, what, through like the COVID lockdowns? It's funny because during the lockdown, I started playing The Last of Us, like a month or so before COVID hit. So it was like, it was my escape from a disease outbreak was a game about a disease outbreak. But Uncharted would have probably been more comfort for me. Uncharted is still, like, the Uncharted series, I haven't really played those games in a while. I played Uncharted 4, obviously, and I loved that game. But I even though I platinumed those first 3 games, I haven't played. I feel like I'm due to kind of go back to them at some point, just to enjoy them again, because they are games that I just really love. That it really comes down to the characters. I love the character, kind of like the lightheartedness of the series, the pulp actioniness of it. But it's just straight up fun. I played Uncharted 2, or I played Uncharted 1. I thought it was a good start, but Uncharted 2 became one of my favorite games of all time. I agree. The jump from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 is astronomical. It reminds me of like Crash Bandicoot 1 to Crash Bandicoot 2 for me, but even more innovative in a way, with how more innovative, more iconic. Not saying Crash isn't iconic, but you know what I mean. Like the whole train sequence, the set pieces, it was more than just let's throw a bunch of like a wave of enemies at Drake while he's on this island or whatever. It was more story driven for me. The set pieces were like, you could tell Naughty Dog was like taking up the challenge of like stepping up their game in the second game. Like they really wanted to prove themselves of what they can really do. Let's try to see if I can. The characters are cool. I love the gun gameplay. The environments are nice. Oh, that's like that's one of those. Not a clicker, but a. Oh God. Well, the music in this is really cool. It's like funky. But yeah, the characters are great. I love Elena. I love Drake, Sully, obviously. But then you get character like Chloe. Um, Chloe's a big focus. Then you get what's his name? What's the guy who is kind of like the other guy that you're playing with, but he betrays you? I'm forgetting his name already. But I love that level with the helicopter shooting the house down. That's, to me, like I said last time, it's one of the levels that made me like my jaw drop. It's been like there's moments in video games playing throughout my life where I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is, like, for me, that level felt like a big step up in video games for me. And it's something I want to see more from Naughty Dog. I want to see them really, like, they're really great at storytelling and stuff. But I hope a game like Intergalactic can, like, really, like, reinvent stuff. Like, kind of be more groundbreaking. Not just another great story or whatever. I want to see what justifies this being a $200 to $400 million budget video game. Like, like, with Naughty Dog at the helm, what can they really do to push the industry forward? That's what Uncharted 2 did for me, in terms of, like, wow, this is really next level stuff. This is next gen stuff. Honestly, you did the talking for me. I don't know what else to add. That's my number 4. Great number 4. I got one more bullet and this guy's hiding on me. Where are you? I could hear you, but I cannot see you. I guess I'll go into my number 3. But I have to look at what it... Oh, I think I know what it is. I have my list. I just want to make sure I have the right order. Okay, my number 3. Spyro Year of the Dragon. Oh, I see you, you bastard. Whoa! Spyro Year of the Dragon. This game came out in 2000. Nope. Okay. Spyro Year of the Dragon. This was a game that came out in 2000.
Back to it.
This is a game that, surprisingly, I did not play it. I didn't play it as soon as it came out. I was a kid at the time. I was 10 years old. I only played the Reunited version. Ah, really? That's interesting. I really urge you to play the original, because the original Spyro games, the charm to the art design and or like the what is it, the not just art design, but the art style of those original games. I really like that a lot. It's one of those games that I can play. If I had to make a choice between Reignited or Year of the Dragon, or I'm sorry, or the PS1 versions, and let's say I was blindfolded and I can only pick one, I wouldn't be. I would be almost happy if I chose the original PS1. Maybe that's nostalgia, but I still think those games hold up incredibly well. This game, though, I didn't get it right away. I actually didn't. I remember my friend had it, and I played more of it at his house than playing it on my own. I remember I had to, like, he was younger than me, so I would like beat a lot of the missions, or like a lot of the egg missions for him, and I would play through it, and I had a lot of like love for the game, but I didn't like I admired that like I always like for me like I liked the novelty back then of the different characters you get to play as. I know now in retrospect I kind of just want to play as Spyro more, but at the time when they introduced all these different characters you can play as, like it was new and there was a novelty to it that I felt was cool. And I feel like Spyro Year the Dragon has so much stuff loaded in the game, you know, between the Sparks levels and all that. Um, and the bosses, and there's more open worlds. Even though there's more open worlds in the first game, they're small, a little smaller. Not I mean not the first game, the second game. They're a little smaller. The boss fights are definitely you're fighting more bosses. There's more of a post game happening. Um, Spyro Year the Dragon is long enough where you're still playing as Spyro a lot. You're not just the new characters aren't really taking away from your time with Spyro. It's just kind of just extra for me. But from what I hear, the original Spyro 3 is better. Yeah, I would say so because the Toys for Bob remake, um, I remember hearing like, and I kind of agreed. Like the Spyro 1 Reignited was really well done, and Spyro 2, it's good, and Spyro 3 is good, but it feels like there was a lot of bugs and a lot of polishing that they could have done in those later games. Like maybe they were just towards the end of development and they didn't have time because they had to like crunch in order to get the Reunited Trilogy out. Because if you remember, Reunited Trilogy got delayed at one point because they weren't ready, and then of course, only the first game was included on the disc, and they had to release a reprint of all the games being on the disc. But I remember that being a big controversy, and unfortunately, I still own the first print where you have to download like the two other games, which is a shame. But they did reprint. They did release a new print though that you can get with everything on the disc. But anyway, the top-down Sparks levels are cool. I like those Sparks levels. Yeah, it felt very arcadey, like a fun arcade game. Very similar to like say like what's that game? Like Asteroids in a way. Not so much Asteroids, but more like there's some arcade game that's just escaping where like things are coming after you and you're kind of like you kind of have to like run away from them, but kind of herd them and try to shoot them at the same time. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but yes, the Spyro 3, very good. I like the lore introduced with Bianca and how there's kind of a little bit of a chemistry with her and Hunter, but she's kind of a character. I feel like Spyro 3 is the first game where it's like there's kind of a plot twist happening, or kind of like an arc in the story is happening. Whereas with Spyro 2, as much as I love Avalar and I love the world and I love Ripto as a big bad, and I love the Avalar characters like Elora and the professor and Moneybags and all. Like I like the whole band of those characters or whatever, and Hunter obviously. But I feel like every main open world is the same thing. It's Ripto's taking over this world, taking over the Summer Forest. Now he's taking over Autumn Plains. Now he's taking over Winter Tundra, and you're kind of just doing the same thing over again. But the story I never really took seriously in Spyro to begin with. But I feel like out of all the stories, Spyro 3 actually has kind of there's more story beats happening in the game compared to the first two. I'm not too big of a fan of the new characters, but they are a nice addition. Exactly. Like I'm not like head over heels about them, but I do respect their different game mechanics and what they kind of bring differently. But yeah, it's not like a selling point anymore. It was a novelty back in the day when it first came out. But yeah, and you say yeah, Bianca and Hunter are so cute together. If there's a Spyro 4, I hope to see more of Bianca. I hope Pamela Hayden hasn't retired completely she retired from being Milhouse and playing and the Simpsons characters that she does. But she did voice Bianca and a lot of side characters in Spyro. In the Spyro first, in Spyro 2 and 3. So, and she did reprise her role for Reignited. So, but yeah, Spyro Year of the Dragon. It was actually a game I found it in a game store when I was in college. So I played the game in the past a lot over my friend's house, and I was obsessed with it, but I never outright owned it until I found it in a game store for $20 in a retro game store. I picked it up in college, and then I just fell in love with it all over again. It's a great game. It's exactly what I love about Spyro 2, plus more. I love that you're doing more kind of like orb challenge slash egg challenge stuff. Every level is is very creative and different and unique and imaginative. It's what I hope they bring into a sequel if there is one, which I think there is. But yeah, Spyro Year of the Dragon, very important game. The Spyro series in general, the original three, they're very important to the DNA of my gaming history, without a doubt. It's like I said, my '90s list, Spyro the Dragon was was it Spyro the Dragon or Spyro 2? I think I chose Spyro 2, but it could have been either or. And Spyro 3, I think Spyro 3, out of the trilogy, I think it might be my least favorite, but it's still like a 9 out of 10 for me. It's still like a great game that is like so close to my heart. So that's me, but Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, definitely, and Crash Bandicoot too. I mean Crash Bandicoot also for me, but I feel like I don't know. It's like I don't know. I feel like Spyro has there's something special about Spyro. I mean, Crash has the Crash Team Racing. That's good, but I love those original trilogy games too. But I don't think I don't know. For me, in terms of quality, I think like a Spyro the Dragon, the first game, is better than say like Crash Bandicoot 1. But I still really love Crash Bandicoot 1 for what it is and how difficult it can be and challenging and stuff. But yeah, that's my number 4. How about you? What would you say? Oh, my number 3. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was my number 3. What would you say is your number 3? And I think we'll end it after that. But maybe I can progress here. Let's see. Your number 3 is Okami. Okay. Now, Okami was just recently announced. What is it? A remake or a sequel? It's Okami 2, I think, right? Or I forget how many Okami games there are. I'm not very fluent on it, but I know. Okami was a game. It's a sequel that's been announced, which is like a very long wait between sequels, right? I guess it's more of like a revisiting the IP after what was originally just supposed to be maybe just one game. I don't know. But the game is art. I really like the arts, like the art style of Okami looks really cool and beautiful and ethereal and atmospheric. The game is art. I mean that literally. Yeah, it really is. Like, I'd never played the game though, and we did speak on it last time when the sequel was announced. Where was that sequel announced? I forget. But anyway, and I remember I was talking last time too that Canadian Guy A says Okami could be a great inspiration for a new Spyro game, in a way. I remember him telling that to the Toys for Bob developer or lead director. But yeah, Okami, what do you other than the art, is it very plot heavy or anything, or is it more of kind of just a vibe? I love the cell shaded art style. Yeah, cell shaded art style is cool. The Simpsons game has a cell shaded art style, by the way, and the watercolor paint look. Yeah, That's cool. It's something I like that, like, now, is Okami like an indie game, or was it more? Because I think it's more mainstream than that, right? Or more. I don't know who developed it, but it feels like it has the spirit of what indie games try to do with trying to be more artful, but it's kind of more substantial in terms of being successful. It's Capcom, okay, yeah, definitely. That says it all. Then it's you're getting quality with a studio like that for a game that's seems a little different from what they usually put out. I mean, they put out a lot of artful stuff, but okay, that guy just took it really well. Whew. But anything more that you would add? I mean, like, is like I said, is it more plot heavy, or is it more of like a vibe? Are you kind of just like going through each level or whatever? Is it open world? Um, the gameplay has you drawing things. Okay, so that's already pretty experimental on its own. With your celestial brush, for example, if you draw a circle in the sky, it becomes a sun. Ah, okay. So does that like affect the environment? Like, does the sun like light the way, or does it like warm the environment in it, or you know what I mean? Like does it change the environment in any way? Like if you were to do that. And is it a short game, or is it like considerably like, would you say it's like a 15-hour game or an 8-hour game? If needed to in the story. Okay, so it's like a cool mechanic at the same time. That's cool. Guess I'm going this way. I have not much to add else with the game, so yeah, definitely if there's any other thoughts, definitely don't hesitate. The story is based on Japanese folklore, if I'm not folklore that I'm not too familiar with. So okay, that's cool. I like games that kind of teach you something based on something that That's why I like the God of War games. Like, it's kind of like a tour de force of like Greek mythology and then Norse mythology. I like how Ghost of Tsushima taught me more about like feudal Japan. Um, I like when history is kind of implemented, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 has been very um, educational as much as it is entertaining for me. When it goes back to like those uh, back to Prague and like kind of like mid-century or mid yeah, kind of like mid-century era, you know. So that's cool.
Hope I can cut through here.
Okay, so I wonder if this is a stopping place. There's a lot to explore here. I think we'll stop here. But unless you're like, are you satisfied? The music is great. It has that classic Japanese sound to it. Ah, okay. You know what's there's a level in like Sly Cooper, one of the Sly Coopers, where you're fighting that like karate bird or whatever it is. And because of the cell shading in that game, like there's a level where you're like in, which I remember being like a real pain in the ass level for me, but I remember it being a very beautiful arena or like area where like you're kind of like in this bamboo forest, and I don't know why, but it kind of evokes a little bit of what I uh know of Okami, and I can see like that when you mentioned like the Japanese sounding music, it kind of just brought that back to me. And it's mainly linear, but the world is open to explore for side quests. Many people compare it to Zelda. Okay, I mean, would you say it's similar to like Spyro, where it's like you're in kind of just like this fixed space, but you're allowed to explore and then find different quests, similar to say, or is it more like say like a Sly Cooper, where it is very linear but kind of open, not as linear as say Crash Bandicoot, but open at the same time. You know what I mean? But that's cool. I like the idea of a linear game that has a really gorgeous art style like that, but yet still allows you to kind of to stumble onto things that might not necessarily be something that you can find if you're just going through the game, mainlining the game or whatever. Yeah, it's quite open. Okay. I guess it's what they call like wide linear, maybe similar to like the Uncharted 4, where like you're in the Madagascar level and you can kind of just mainline if you want, or you can kind of do little side activities if you want, you know. Um, but yeah, that's a good pick. Like if you have anything else to add, let me know. In the meantime, I do want to say that's your number three. Okay, I think that's a great pick. Um, I'm very interested in what we have for our number two and number one. For 2000s. Next episode, we'll definitely be able to get into to wrap up the top 10. But for now, yeah, let me wrap it up. With what I always do is So my number 10, SOCOM 2. Number 9, Metal Gear Solid 2. Number 8, God of War 2. Number 7, Pokemon Silver. Number 6, Uncharted 2. A lot of sequels in my list. Uh, Number 5 is Area 51. Number 4 is The Simpsons Hidden Run. And number 3, Spyro Year of the Dragon. And then yours is, and I'm probably gonna blank on some like last time, but because I haven't written them down yet. But number 10 is Mario Kart DS. Number 9, Soul Calibur 2. Number 8, Def Jam Fight for New York. Number 7, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Number 6, Kingdom Hearts 2. Your number 5 was it was Crash of the Titan, right? Crash of the Titans. And number 4 was I'm like it's like so weird how so Titans. What is it? Uncharted 2. And then number 3 is Okami. See, my memory serves me. It's weird when you're trying to broadcast and talk, and you're talking so much that it's like you'd be surprised how your memory kind of just like dissolves as you go. But I will write those down. And yeah, it's good. Wait till you hear my number 1. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Um, yeah, my number 2, my number 1 are really good. One you'll probably get maybe. The other one maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't think you, but you'll see. Other than that, I just want to say, just as a recap of just what I've been playing, it's just been Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I haven't had a chance to play the new Astrobot level yet. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I just got to a really cool point in the story where it's probably like my favorite thing I've ever experienced in a video game in a while. I don't know if I want to. It's basically like you go to an event, and there's a lot of things you can do at this event, and it's very very realistic to how this event would go down in real life, but it's even funnier. There's a lot of comedy in this game, by the way. So much comedy that I've been finding myself laughing out loud multiple times throughout this game. Uh, and I'm loving it. I'm just loving this game. And yet there's also these quests, every side quest I've done, unlike other games where side quests are just there kind of sort of as filler, or maybe they're good or interesting. Every side quest I've done has been compelling, like compelling, and like making me question my morals of the situation. And there's so much choice and stuff that you can bring to the table. So many ways you can approach the quest. This is gonna be like a very tough competitor for game of the year for me. When it comes down to all the games we play after the end of the year, it's gonna be very tough. But yeah, I'm enjoying myself with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm probably gonna hop on that game as soon as we're done here. And yeah. Anyway, Pulpit Pig, it's been a pleasure. We ran a little long because I try to with our list episodes, I try to run it a little longer because we're not getting as much gameplay in. But yeah. Other than that, anyone out there who wants to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. You can subscribe to Kev Plays 9490 on YouTube, or follow me on Twitter at Let's Watch Series. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, keep a clear head, and keep on gaming. And I'll catch you all next time. And Pelpa, check out Lab Experiment Failure for the Area 51 video. You'll find it. I think the crate user was his name was Crazy Asian with a K, if you see it. But if you type in Lab Experiment Failure, it's like a 10-minute video. It's pretty well done. For a very retro, like late 2000s creation. That was like done when YouTube was like very young. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. Peace out, everyone.